Just some breaking news on that Gaza flotilla, or the flotilla, the aid flotilla heading for Gaza. And word from that flotilla says that a number of vessels are approaching, and organisers of the flotilla say they expect an interception by the Israeli Navy in an hour or so, and have declared a state of emergency on board. Now, these are live pictures from the flotilla of a number of vessels included in that. There are some 500 people on several boats, more than 50 vessels in that flotilla, and certainly Israel's Navy has been preparing to seize control of those vessels if they got too close to Gaza, which the Israelis appear to believe they now have. And a unit of naval commandos has effectively been on standby for an operation that could involve towing those ships, a few of which you see there in those pictures, towing those ships to other Israeli ports. The port of Ashdod has been mentioned. But on board, a number of activists, pro-Palestinian activists, including, of course, Greta Thunberg, also a former mayor of Barcelona, and a number of other activists. And it was actually escorted for a while by, this flotilla was escorted by Italian and Spanish vessels. They had support from those governments, but significantly, the Italian vessel withdrew in the last few hours because of how close the flotilla was getting to Gaza. And the Spanish vessel is still supporting the flotilla, we think, but the Spanish government has urged the flotilla to avoid confrontation and head to other ports. In a joint statement today from Italian foreign ministers and a Greek foreign minister, they called on Israel to ensure the safety and security of the participants and to allow for all consular protection measures. And it also restated a call for the activists to hand over the humanitarian aid on board to the Catholic Church in Cyprus for the church to then distribute. But the organisers of the flotilla have rejected that option, saying their intent is to challenge what is Israel's effective naval blockade of Gaza. And so it does seem now as if Israeli Navy vessels are approaching that flotilla, and they say that they're expecting some sort of interception by the Israeli Navy in an hour or so, and have declared a state of emergency on that flotilla. Middle East correspondent Adam Parsons joins me now. So, Adam, what are you hearing about what is going on?
I mean, this is a confrontation that has been a long time coming. There's over 40 boats in this flotilla, and I think you've just probably made reference to the fact that one of them has put out a message in the past few minutes under Iara Moderella, saying that they expect a dozen vessels on their way to intercept them. They think that those vessels are a matter of miles away, and in that they've said we call on governments to give us safe passage. So, to be very blunt, this is what everybody expected to happen. I have spent days now asking contacts here. What are you going to do when this happens, when this confrontation occurs? And there's been two answers that I've consistently got, Mark. Number one was effectively a government holding statement, them saying, well, we don't want this confrontation. The Israeli government have over the past week or so, have come up with a series of proposals. Firstly, it was give us the aid and we will distribute it. Then it became give the aid to a third party and they can distribute it, give it to charities that they can distribute it. And of course, the flotilla rejected all of these. Now, the Israeli government have always maintained that this whole thing is a premise to organise a confrontation. They've derided this as a Hamas flotilla. They came up with allegations yesterday that linked members of this flotilla with Hamas. But right up to today, I texted a pretty senior source and said, what do you think is going to happen? And got a very abrupt answer that I can translate as, I have no idea. And that seems to be the response to many people was, let's hope this doesn't. But I think the plan as to what was going to be the military response has been a pretty tightly held secret. But the assumption has been that it would happen at night. Well, that's what we have now. And that it would involve the Israeli military taking firm action to stop this flotilla getting near Gaza. There was a proposal a while ago to just let them land in Gaza and then to see what happened. I think ultimately that never got anywhere near off the ground. So we have seen obviously previous attempt at taking a boat into Gaza got stopped by pretty firm-handed Israeli action, with people taken off, tear gas used, and the people on board, including Greta Thunberg, being deported. This is a much, much, much larger flotilla of over 40 boats, and it will inevitably get a much firmer response with a dozen craft. We don't know what craft those are. I suppose the assumption is that that is the Israeli military and the people on board this flotilla, asking for governments to confirm their safe response. Everyone knows, the Israelis know, the flotilla know, that the world is watching this confrontation. That's why it is extremely difficult for the Israeli military. As we know, there have been 3 different countries who have at various points sent naval vessels to accompany this flotilla, or in the end, in case of the Italians, to ask them to leave, to effectively abandon ship. That hasn't happened. A confrontation was inevitable, and it would appear that right now that is what is happening in the waters, a fair distance, but relatively close from the coast of Gaza.
OK, Adam, we will keep an eye on these pictures and an eye on what is going on, and we will be back with that story should there be developments.